So, the first thing you have to do is you have to find a game. You can join one of these games, but I recommend joining a Flashpoint Europe game because that is where the newer players are going to be, and it'll be a lot easier. Also, it's a smaller map with only 28 players instead of 64. So, at the start of a game, you have to pick what country you're going to be. You could be a country with a Western doctrine, such as Turkey. Western doctrine favors armored fighting vehicles, which are like tanks but worse. Air mobile infantry, which is pretty bad, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. And attack helicopters, which are good, but only in the late game. You don't want those at the start of the game because they're quite expensive and they're good on tanks, which people won't usually have early on. So that's Western Doctrine. I'd rate it maybe an okay, but in my opinion, the other two doctrines are much better. Then we have European Doctrine. France has European Doctrine. They have anti-tank vehicles, which are good. They're just good against tanks, so you can use those. It's quite good to be a European doctrine against a Eastern doctrine, which is good in tanks. I'll get to that later, though. They have mechanized infantry, which is really good even if you don't have a European doctrine. And there's strike fighter aircraft, which is alright as well. So European doctrine's pretty good. But what I'm going to be showing you is Hungary, because Hungary has the Eastern doctrine, which favors tanks, which is the main focus that I'm going to be showing, because tanks are really overpowered, especially in small maps. Helicopter gunships, which are also extremely good, and mobile artillery is not half bad either. Also, Hungary is quite a challenging nation without access to the sea, so I'm going to show you how to play with a challenging nation, and if you want to, you could play an easier nation with Eastern Doctrine, such as maybe Ukraine or Algeria or something. Alright, let's begin. Oh shoot, Hungary was just taken. That means we're going to have to find another country. Alright. That's not the biggest deal though. I'm just not sure which one to pick. Alright, we'll play as Syria. So first you're going to want to open your research tab, right? And research main battle tank. Now, these are the tanks that are super good about with Eastern Doctrine, which I previously mentioned. But now we're just going to have to make a way to be able to produce those tanks. So let's see. Tanks are armored vehicles. In order to make them, we need the research, which I just started, Army Base and Arms Industry. So we're going to build Army Base 2 and Arms Industry. So Army Base, I have premium, so I can do Arms Industry and Army Base in the queue thing. And we'll build that in Aleppo as well. It's kind of a bummer because I wanted to do Hungary for this tutorial. But that's alright, I suppose. So we're going to build it in these three cities. And the reason why I choose these three is because Latakia can be good for a naval base because it has sea access, and Damascus is an air base, which will be good for helicopters. Speaking of helicopters, let's build an arms industry so that we could get the helicopters soon, and research for helicopters so we can get. But we don't have enough rare materials, so we'll buy some. We don't need that many. Is that enough? No, it's not. Whatever, I'll just buy all that. And research for helicopter. Now we need to start the military campaign. So, Turkey has more cities than us. It's a player-controlled nation. We do not want to attack them. We're going to go for Iraq here, because they only have one city and not that good of an army compared to Turkey. After you have a unit controlled to go somewhere, you can waypoint it to go to another province, like that. And if you have a unit with artillery, if you attack, it'll just use its rock throwing capabilities to just throw the rocks at that, so we don't have to move it to get to where we want it to be. And I'll move a unit in homes to here, just for some reinforcement. And my queuing isn't working because I don't have enough rare materials, so I guess I'll just buy some more. I guess Syria doesn't start with many rare materials. So that's mainly what you want to do in the beginning of the game. Once your arms industries and army bases 2 are built, then you can build the tanks and the helicopters. That will be very useful. And in a bit, we'll check on how Iraq is doing, and then we can expand more into Iran and the Caucasus region, Azerbaijan, Armenia, and Georgia, before having a conflict with Turkey later on.